All right, let's start with number 10, which was You Were Never Really Here, the Joaquin Phoenix star. It's very Drive-esque. Anybody who knows me or has listened to me talk knows that Drive is my favorite film of all time, and I talk about it incessantly, and my apologies for that. Anyway, You Were Never Really Here is very reminiscent of that film. Highly violent, low-budget, stylistic film. With that being said, they do some really interesting things with editing when it comes to the violence. Like it kind of like skips right through in parts when the movie's getting really intense, and you skip the parts where you see how it happened, and you just see the aftermath, and the effect of that is it was pretty cool. I really dug it. So number 10, You Were Never Really Here. Number 9 is a wonderful entry into the horror genre. We've been in a horror renaissance for a while. This is a fantastic addition to that subject matter, and I'm talking about Hereditary, the uh, spiritual psychological horror film um, of the Tony Collette put in masterful work as usual. Hereditary, I'm not even going to say anything about it. If you don't know about it, look it up. Go in blind. It's a fantastic watch. So that is number 9. Number 8 is a movie that's got a lot of traction in award seasons. It's probably going to win a lot come Oscar season, and it is Roma at number 8. Netflix produced film. Alfonso Cuarón, fantastic filmmaker, of course, and previous Oscar winner. And so he wrote, directed, produced, and he was his own director of photography on this movie, which is insanely impressive. And I would say it's the best cinematography of the year, in my opinion. So we'll see if he gets recognized for that. But he'll definitely win for Best Foreign Film and possibly even Best Picture. Very gorgeous and moving movie. I can't really relate to it subject matter wise, but it's something that I'll definitely think about for quite some time. So everybody has access to that movie. It's a slow burn. You really got to pay attention because it's in Spanish, of course. But even along with that, just it's not a plot driven. It's a character driven piece, and so you really need to pay attention. But if you put in the time and effort, it's a great watch for you. So definitely check it out. Roma, number 8. I don't know. I'm probably going to regret having this down here at number 7. It probably should be higher up, but I already wrote it down on the paper, so I guess we'll go with what I put down. So number 7 is The Favorite. I can't stand powdered wig movies. I do not touch them at all. But this, of course, was very different, and it had an edge to it and a humor. I can't remember the name of the filmmaker. I don't want to attempt to say it because I don't know for sure. I think it's like Yargos or Largos or something like that. I can't recall. I'm really rushing things here, as you can see. But anyway, this is the same guy who made The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer. So that kind of very dark but undertones of comedic value in there. And The Favorite is a lot of fun, and it's not your typical powdered wig movie. It's hilarious and intense and gorgeously and strangely shot. Like you don't see a lot of use of like the fisheye and all that fun stuff, but they make some odd and brilliant choices in that movie, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. So probably should have been at like number 4 or something, but I'll leave it there at number 7 for now. Nobody's gonna care about this list. We'll go on to a highly enjoyable movie. I'll bet a bit overhyped. It was this A Star Is Born. I was so ready for this movie. Like it was such not even just Oscar bait, just like art bait. You got Lady Gaga singing all new songs, and Bradley Cooper, who's also singing and performing and acting and directing and writing and everything under the sun. Like he's the Alfonso Cuarón, but of the actor version this year. And it was a highly effective movie. Didn't really mix the pot up a whole lot when it comes to being the third remake of a now 4 times told tale. But highly stylistic, great cinematography. The songs are great. Most of them are really good. except for when they're like purposefully bad. When she's like a pop star, it's really bad. Sam Elliott, hella good performance. I would not be sad at all, and I would implore it if he won for Best Supporting Actor. He does more with like one look in that movie than I think anything else from that past year did to like wreck me. Like it's like Chalamet and Carell and Beautiful Boy. Like Sam Elliott does all that with like one look in A Star Is Born. So, so that's how I feel about Star Is Born. Pretty good movie. Nothing super new, but highly enjoyable and moving. Good movie. We're in the top 5 now. I'm blazing through these because I don't want to ramble too long. I've done so much of that already. Number 5 is Eighth Grade, the directorial debut of Bo Burnham, a hilarious comedian. Story of a girl in 8th grade, and highly emotional, very awkward, can be difficult to watch at times. It's like one of the movies where like I've got my hands over my face just in certain scenes because it's just so relatable. And everybody's experienced 8th grade in their life, obviously. That's old enough to see this movie, and it's a lot of fun. And what I love the most in that movie is the dad. Like that's a great movie, Dad. It's been a while since I've seen like a dad in a movie that I was like, yes, like that's a great fucking father, and that's like a good role model to have. So I hope one day I can strive to be a dad as good as the father in 8th grade. Number 4 is a fantastic documentary by the name of Three Identical Strangers. I'm not going to talk about the plot too much. If you're not familiar with it, it is the story of triplets who were separated at birth, and when they were in college, one discovered the other, and he had an identical twin that he'd never known about. And then another brother from a different state sees this headline, and it turns out all 3 of them, completely identical, didn't know about the other's existence. And then from there, and then there's a lot of fun and loving moments in that movie, but it's like kind of like Exit to the Gift Shop, where like it goes from that movie to another one, and you just don't see what's coming, and the twists come in, and it's just a highly effective documentary, and it'll keep you awake and paying attention. And I highly recommend it if you haven't seen or heard of it. Just go into it. It's a great watch. Number 3 is fucking Mandy. Oh, I loved Mandy so much. It was a smaller time movie. It's like a goddamn LSD trip. Like no doubt, it is like LSD personified in film, and it stars the man Nicolas Cage in like the most goddamn metal movie I've ever seen in my life. Like it's LSD incarnate, and it is metal, like to its core. A crazy cult full of who also take LSD, and just the visuals are just mind-numbingly crazy. The colors, everything is just nuts. It's like the Fear and Loathing of the last 10 years or 15 years, maybe since Fear and Loathing, like 25 years ago, or whatever. That math is off, but let's leave it at that. But yeah, Mandy, man. So this crazy cult attacks and takes over Nicolas Cage's wife, and he's going for vengeance, and he fucking smelts a battle axe, and he goes in and just goes after this insane cult to try and mow them all down and avenge his wife. It is a trippy ass movie. It is gory as hell. It is insane, and I could not take my eyes off of it. So, and I love the Cage, of course. Huge Nicolas Cage fan, and I love. It's always great whenever he actually makes a good movie, but when he makes a fucking fantastic movie that's also like the cagiest, bonkerest movie he's made in a while, then you gotta go for it. And they went for it, and it's fantastic. So, Mandy, number 3. Number 2 is bringing us back to the documentaries angle of things, and number 2 is the wonderful film "Won't You Be My Neighbor" about Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. I was a big Mr. Rogers neighborhood fan growing up, and this movie, I fucking cried watching the trailer for this movie, no doubt. I watched the trailer for this movie and I cried. And when we were in the theater and we were watching it, it's not that long. It's like 85 minutes or something. Get to like the 80-minute mark, and I hadn't cried at all. And I was like, huh, okay, this movie was really good, but I made it out without crying. I cried during the trailer. And then the last 5 minutes come in that movie, and I swear to God, I had a big bushy beard at the time. It was soaked, like just like dropping waterfalls, and everybody in the theater was just eyes pouring out, bawling. And it was just like, it's just, you cannot resist the charms of it. And they just don't make them like that anymore. There's nobody as pure and good-hearted as Fred Rogers was, and it's sad, but it's true, and they're not around anymore. But he left behind a great legacy, and this film does such a masterful job of spreading the message that he always wanted everybody in this universe to know. So, could not recommend that movie highly enough. Please seek out the doc, Won't You Be My Neighbor? You will not be disappointed. So number one is a superhero movie, and I feel terrible about that. And it was not a particularly special year for superhero movies. I actually enjoyed Aquaman quite a bit. I thought it was a lot of fun. Avengers was fine. Black Panther was really good. Deadpool 2 was fine. Like, no bad superhero... Sorry, JK. Venom was a really bad superhero movie. That was to be expected. But there was some really big surprises in there, like Teen Titans Go to the Movies was really fantastic, actually. But my number one movie was a different animated film, and I wasn't surprised at all just based off the trailers. The only surprise is just that it is this fucking masterful of a movie, and I'm talking about, of course, the number one film of 2018, from my perspective, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Holy crap. I have not gone a day without thinking about this movie since I saw it the night it premiered. It is groundbreaking. Like, it's insane. It's such a rarity in the animation field that breakthroughs come through, technologically speaking. And Lord and Miller and the directors, they have discovered something that hasn't been tapped before in animation. And it is wholly original, it is highly gorgeous, and extremely entertaining. And on top of that, it gave them an avenue to just express the best storytelling they possibly could. Going into the movie, I was nervous because I'm a big fan of Miles Morales' Spider-Man, but with them going with the Spider-Verse story, I figured that his story would get bogged down a lot, and they wouldn't do justice with it because there would be so many Spider-Men and women in the movie, and pigs. But they somehow were able to both tell all the important details of Miles' origin and not bog down his story and do it completely faithfully, but also originally at the same time, and meld that in with all these other Spider-Men with like brand new technological advances in animation that are just changing the landscape of film. Like, I could not say one bad thing about this movie. It is goddamn hilarious. It's gorgeous. It's heartfelt. It's fun. It's smart. The vocal performances are incredible. It's, no pun intended, amazing. And it had a very timely and beautiful send-off to the late, great Stan Lee. I was not expecting an anime. I mean, of course, everybody knows I'm a massive fan of animation and of superhero movies. Even with that being all loaded up pre-hand for me, I did not expect this movie would be a number one choice for me, but it is that damn good. And I have no quarrels about that. Maybe I feel bad about The Favorite being solo, but I do not feel bad about putting Into the Spider-Verse at number one. And so that is where I'm at. Those are my favorite movies of 2018. Shouts to all the great films that came out this last year. And hopefully I can get off my ass and A, do a better job of recording, unlike today, and B, do it more often, and B, figure my shit out on how to do this podcast when I have the time available. But we'll see. It'll probably be a while. But thanks for listening and or watching if you are doing in that case. I'm sorry you saw this month. If you're listening, I'm sorry you had to listen to me ramble and be stupid and be lazy and not edit this stuff out. but these are the times we live in. Oh, coming back to the podcast along with that, I'm probably going to change the name. I didn't realize that it didn't occur to me since I've been using this name for the past like 12 years for my video productions that people are now getting me confused with a certain other tea party, if you know what I mean. So reformats are coming in the future. I'm paying for this, service site to host my podcast, so might as well do some recordings. I'll get back in the game soon, guys, and I'll stop being lazy, I guess, at some point. But I'll see you when I see you.